Today, we're going to talk about a few different subjects, but one of the main ones we're going to talk about, do Kiss fans complain a little too much? I'll explain why I asked that question and more questions today on Podcast Rock City Live. What's up, everybody? Joe here from Podcast Rock City, and with me this week, Sonny Hollywood Pooty.
What's up, homers? I know all the homers are listening. It's going to be a long night.
Oh, it's going to be a long night. And right down there is the man, the myth, the legend, Joey Casada.
Welcome, everyone, to the #1 Kiss-rated podcast in the entire world, galaxy, universe, wherever you're from. You know we're #1. Don't say it, because we got a trademark. Joe, I got to ask you a couple questions. I don't know if I've been away a couple weeks or I'm just drunk half the time when I start the show. Do we have a new intro? And is my intro new? Is all that stuff new?
That's not new.
That's
been
not
seen.
That's how you've been hammered for weeks.
Nope. Karen,
but I'm
Karen
drunk now, so I know how I noticed it today.
I love that one.
Karen made that one for you years ago when you were like, why am I after Pooney? And then she put that together for you. And speaking of, look, we got to get Lee in here. The lovely Goddess of Thunder herself, Lee. And look, you guys that are watching this, I'm going to go ahead and let you
Happy 50th anniversary.
Yes. We are very busy this
One
weekend.
Of the best movies of all time.
Joey is on tour. Sonny is on vacation. And we wanted to make sure that we were all here for you. So we recorded this show. Please talk amongst yourselves. But we're going to stir some shit today. Okay? Ooh. And and how I'm going to do that is first of all, we got to get to the news.
Podcast Rock City News.
I will tell you that a few people made some comments about a comment that Sonny Hollywood Pooty made, and his comment was basically about the Paul Stanley interview that came out with the what's his name from
Billy Corgan.
Billy Corgan. Have you watched it yet, Sonny?
Yeah. So I listened. I didn't watch, but I listened to both parts yesterday.
A couple of people said they actually thought it was a very good interview.
It was a good interview.
Right.
I will tell you though, the Rick Rubin Gene interview is better.
Couldn't agree more. That listen, I agree. The Paul interview was actually pretty good. The Rick Rubin Gene interview is one of the best Gene interviews I've ever heard.
It's 3 hours long.
3 hours of Gene.
3 hours.
How many times did he say, "See what I did there"? How many times?
He's done it twice so far, and I'm 2 hours in.
But it's great because listen, there's a lot of the same old Gene stuff, and gymnasium is a big word, and powerful and attractive, and there's all the Gene-isms that you want and love over the years. But Gene goes into a lot of like cool insight. He's got an acoustic guitar with him. I think it's just audio, right, Sonny? No video, right?
No video.
But he's got an acoustic guitar. You can hear him. Rick Rubin literally goes through the history, starting with before Wicked Lester, and Gene's playing a little of My Uncle Is a Raft, and then he'll play a little of God of Thunder. Play as the albums go by. Gene is giving little tidbits on insights of songs where, like, he was saying that Christine 16 was written to like almost like make fun of Paul because Paul wrote all these goofy love songs, and he said Paul kind of wrote God of Thunder as a goof to make fun of Gene. And, you know, there's a lot of cool insights that I've never heard Gene go into. And my favorite part of the interview was over the 3 hours, Gene, and Sonny loves this word, Gene is a bigger homer for the Beatles than Joe is for Kiss.
Yep.
Get the hell out of here.
No doubt. No doubt.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So you guys, look, there's a lot to choose from entertainment wise. You get done with this show, and then if you guys are part of our after school special, come and hang out with us. And then after that, put on one of those interviews. Check it out. It sounds like hours. I have not gotten to it yet. I am saving it for when I'm out of town on the 4th of July, because I'm going to be doing a lot of sitting around in between my fishing. I do a lot of fishing on the weekend of the 4th, and there'll be a lot of sitting around. So I'll have the headphones on, and I'll give you my report when we come back from the 4th. That being said, there is a little more news, but we got to make it part of the topic of the week. So let's go ahead and get to the oh, wait, before we do that, Joey, listen, I know that you're about to are you about to go on the road a little bit?
Next week, I got some. My daughter has some shows this week, and I'm going on the road with my daughter next week.
Oh, wow.
Right.
I'm taking her and her band on the road for a little East Coast tour.
Great. What I want you to do is at the end of the show, have dates ready so people can come and see her.
Oh, we'll do.
And them, and then maybe they can meet you, and that would be great. Okay. So let's go ahead and get to the topic of the week.
Podcast Rock City Topic of the Week.
You know, I've been listening to Joey's book whenever I get a chance to, because truth be told, most people listen to these books when they're driving. I literally live 4 miles from work. There is no, I don't even put the radio on. I get in the car, I drive, I get out, and I start my day. But when I do have a chance, I listen. And I want to tell you that the Vinny character has just come in. And so far, every character, I'm catching on to the fact that you're using their names in some way to make their, elder names. And the Vinny one is like the cast off, the one that like they were like, you can't be part of our club anymore. That is so good. And I'm really enjoying it so far. So I just wanted to let you, I left a review so far. I hope you, I don't know if you got to see that or not. So, there will be a QR code up by Sonny because it pisses him off to buy Joey's book. So make sure that you guys get the, pick it up, buy Joey's book. Look right there. Boom. Buy Joey's new book.
I appreciate it. Listen, and I got to tell you, I wrote this not for myself, I don't want to say, but I wrote it because I always wanted to know what that elder story could have been. So I just wrote it as a fan, kind of. I want to know what the hell it could have been, right? And it's the reviews have been off the charts. It's sold way better. Listen, I never thought. I figured I'd sell a couple hundred copies, right? Obviously, there were a couple Homer fans that we were going to buy, right, Sonny? But I got to tell you, crazy off the charts how many copies I've sold, way above expectations. And the reviews, which is the scariest part for me, because people will buy, listen, we know we're Kiss fans, we'll buy anything Kiss related, right? So I did expect that first wave to be bought just because it is a Kiss related book. But I love that everyone's really enjoying it and loving the stuff that Joe just talked about, all the Kiss Easter eggs in it. Thanks,
Easter
Joe.
eggs, tons of Easter eggs in this. And if you listen to it, I like listening to it because you got the music in the back. Who did the music again?
So a band called Ancient Door, which they redid incredibly well. The whole entire Elder album, even bigger and grander. Not so much what Ken Nardi did, which was just kind of expanding the real Elder, these guys re-recorded The Elder and made it grander and more, theatrical. And they were kind enough to grant me permission. I used some clips of their music inside the story. That way you could, if you listen to the audiobook, you can kind of hear maybe where these songs would fit into the story. Because it really was, I hate to say it, an pretty easy write for me, because I had the guideline. I had those 11 songs, whatever they were, 10, 11 songs, as kind of a guideline. So it tells the story in the album. So it was pretty easy for me to map out the book.
Yeah. That's awesome. I've been enjoying it. I think that you guys will too. Pick it up. Okay, so let's start the show here. Last year, so Kiss sold their IP, intellectual property. Pop House purchased it, and we all sat around going, nothing's happening. There's no Kiss stuff coming out. There's nothing. And now there is an abundance of Kiss stuff coming out or about to come out, and people are still finding the time to complain. And, it brings this week, they posted that I think on the 24th, there's going to be a new announcement, which I think we all can decide it'll be the 40th anniversary of Asylum. And that's just a guess. They have not told me this, maybe, or maybe they did. I don't know. But I don't know. Anyway,
the perks of being one of the insiders, the select few that have been chosen to be the insiders of Pop House, and the only the cream of the crop were chosen, Joe. I love it.
Yes. If you weren't, no, okay. Anyway, here's the thing. We all pretty much have the idea it's the 40th anniversary because it is. So this is going to be announced, I guess, in less than a week now. So what I wanted to do was basically talk about all the things that are coming out between now and the end of the year. Let's go ahead and start with the fact that they released a off the soundboard with the cover, with poster of Asylum Tour. And I mean, nobody expected that. I can tell you, they told us the Pop House guys at a specific point, but it was a shock. We did not know anything about it. I think one member had knew about it because he was in on it, or two. But I've thoroughly enjoyed that. Lee, have you had the opportunity to hear it?
No.
You haven't? Do you own it yet?
No.
No? So is it just not your favorite era or what?
Duh.
No.
Have I not been speaking for how many years now?
No. Wait. Okay. What I'm trying to say here is I understand that it's not original era. However, it is Kiss related.
No, I like the 80s music. I do. But I'm not,
Just haven't felt the urge to buy it.
I've not felt the urge. But I do enjoy the albums, the 80s albums.
Okay. Sonny, you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. San Antonio sounded good. I haven't been buying the off the soundboards at all, so I kind of stopped buying that stuff. But I will tell you, 40th anniversary Asylum comes out. Now we're talking about my favorite album, so it kind of depends on what's in that. Because I bought that Creatures box set because what was in it was cool.
Okay, so they released the. I know Joey's got it. They release the off the soundboard. The T-shirts come out. They don't have Eric. They don't have Bruce. Joey, this has to be solved now, right? Okay, but
I solved it.
Right, but
Make that yourself.
Listen. I mean, obviously, listen. I don't know if it's really solved or not. But yeah, I think it's time. Enough is enough. I think I love that they I think if correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, they took that shirt down, right?
Right.
So I don't know where any of them actually even shipped. Do we know if anyone even received that initial shirt?
No, I have no idea. And I'll tell you what, if that's the case, I'm pissed off that I didn't buy like 4 or 5 of them.
That's a limited
to-
edition now.
Yes, put
And you
them
know what?
away.
And it's not even about us. Like, listen, I love, obviously, everyone knows I love Eric Carr. It's not about us having the correct shirt, because whatever. I hate to say it, Kiss. You can buy bootlegs all over the internet. Here's one.
You can make
You
one.
buy-
You can make whatever you
one.
want.
Could
Yeah.
do whatever the hell you want. We can make our own T-shirts. We don't need to spend $50 on a official shirt with the right people on it. We could buy our own. And however you want to stop it, try to stop it. It's never going to happen. But it's more about the respect I think Bruce and Eric deserve. Bruce and Eric were such a big part of this band all of those years, and the fans love those eras so much. And I think that Kiss, and when I say Kiss, I think Gene and Paul forgot about those eras, and I understand why they forgot about them. They forgot about them because they're pushing the makeup again, and then they're pushing Tommy and Eric's lineup. I get it, and it was okay. But now we're removed from all lineups because there's no lineup. Now we should go back and celebrate every lineup we possibly can. And I think I love that they're starting to give some respect to this Asylum era. Hopefully they're going to do it for the merch too, as far as, just respecting the trademarks and maybe contacting Bruce's family and Eric's family and trying to get the copyrights and the trademarks and the licensing for their likenesses. But I love that they're acknowledging the Asylum era, because I've said it a million times. If I have to choose, I might choose 80s Kiss over 70s Kiss.
When this comes out, Sonny, this is Universal though, correct?
Yeah, it has to be. I'm hoping that so we get an album, of course. I doubt there's any outtakes. Maybe they had that video with they had a VHS with some of the videos in it, so maybe that is with it on a DVD or something. Maybe we get 11 by 14s or 11 by 17s of all the posters that got released during that time frame that had Eric, right? They were part Animalized, part Asylum, was a little bit of a mix of both.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Those would be cool. So, who knows?
Look at
But
Sonny.
yeah, Universal has to be involved. There's no way around.
You guys see Sonny's face right there? What is he being right there?
I'm being a homer because I am an 80s Kiss homer. If there's an 80s Kiss homer, I'm it.
You mentioned Creatures of the Night box set before, which I agree was fucking great. But what did you love most about that box set?
I like that there was a lot of extra stuff.
Be more specific.
And the live stuff. I like the live stuff too.
But when you say extra stuff, you mean all
like the booklet,
the demos, demos and all
Yep.
the unreleased songs and, the different versions of the Killer mixes. And that's what I'm hoping for Asylum. Listen, posters are cool. We talked about the merch. All of that's cool. I don't care about any of that. I want to hear some extra stuff from the Asylum album. What are the songs that didn't make the cut? What are the songs that almost made the cut and got pushed back? Early versions of Who Wants to Be Lonely, early versions of, King of the Mountain, stuff like that. Them in the studio, the outtakes. Rumor has it the King of the Mountain opener, the opening drum part is Eric warming up in the studio. If that's true, I want to hear more of that. I want to hear some extra stuff from those recording sessions. That's the stuff that I love. I don't care about posters and T-shirts and 8x10s.
What scares me about that, though, is because Paul is at the helm of producing, does all that stuff even exist, or he got rid of all that stuff because he wasn't going to give it to the record company, where other stuff's got Michael James Jackson involved, and he's handing everything in?
It's a great point. I don't know. You're right. I mean, Paul had the power to erase whatever he wanted, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So...
This one, so you guys that don't know, they put out an announcement this week on Kiss Online that basically said you get early access by being part of the Kiss Army. So get into that. If this is a big album for you, get into that so you could pick up an album or whatever they're releasing. I'm sure, and it's always limited. There, the last one was, there was one picture disc that you couldn't get. They had like maybe 500 or 1,000, and then once that was gone, it was the other. So you could do one or the other, and that was unmasked. So make sure you guys get ahead of it if that's what you want. All right. So after that came, or it might have even been before, but I think it was after that, we had the tour through New York of the Dress to Kill stuff, which was, we all agreed, done very well, correct?
Awesome.
Done very well. I still have not, and maybe this weekend I'll try it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my VR headset on because I have one. And I think I'm going to see if there's a way for me to use Google Maps or whatever in there, type in an address, see the spot and look around and listen to the thing. If I could do that, that'd be pretty amazing. I wonder if it's possible to just do it. You could just use your computer and do it, right?
Sure.
Yeah, just go to Google Maps or World or whatever. You could do whatever.
I'm surprised nobody's done this and put it together, so you could just watch
because
it. Because
nobody is the level Homer.
Joe,
there is
like
Joe, and then there's every other Homer on there.
It sounds like a project for our producer Miguel over the next few days.
I hadn't heard from Miguel in a few days. I hope everything's okay.
Oh no! Whoa!
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, but that's okay. We have somebody else in the booth. Sorry.
Miguel.
All right. So
I know you're listening. I'm sorry.
That came out, right? We enjoyed it. Now we're hearing Gene made a comment basically in an interview that 2 box sets are coming out. He didn't say what they were, but we're all assuming it's Alive and Dress to Kill. Everybody in agreement with that?
Well, why can't it be Asylum? I mean, Asylum could be a box set too, right?
I think they're doing 50th anniversaries, and I understand that.
Box sets only 50. No, box sets are not only 50th, because Creatures was a box set.
Creatures was not 50th.
Maybe. All right, let's just say 2 new box sets are coming out. Let's assume they're Alive and Dress to Kill. Okay, if it's something else spectacular, that'll.
I don't know if it's going to be. You think it's going to be Dress to Kill? I would think it's going to. I think it might be Alive and Asylum. Just because Dress to Kill, I wonder if there's enough stuff to put out a box set. No, that's the same year. Alive and Dress to Kill are the same year. That's going to be hard to get 2 box sets out of that year.
But the one thing that you can do with Dress to Kill is you can put the old photos and the new photos.
Yeah.
And you don't
the
have
superhero, the costume change photos, that's true.
One of the things where I think they really missed the boat was they a few years ago they put out a new like a ViewMaster. The company wasn't ViewMaster, but it was it was the same kind of thing. You put the disc in, it has the pictures. I think they missed, and obviously that was not Pop House. That was KISS before this, or the company that called them and said, "Hey, this is what we could do." I think that it would be smart if they should put out reels. I can't be that expensive for tons of different eras, photo sessions, that kind of thing. It'd be I can't imagine it's expensive to do, and people that collected the ViewMaster would do more. I'm just saying these are the kind of things that they miss out on. I think because
for 25 people, who the hell's got a ViewMaster, Joe? I haven't had one since I was 6.
They'd have to remake the whole ViewMaster.
No, it came with the ViewMaster when you bought it. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how many people bought it. I'm just saying my thing is stop picking on me.
Why haven't they put out?
Who's
why haven't they released Sonic Boom on 8-track?
So the show now is just me. Because they're teaming up on me, and I don't like it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Son of a bitch. That's the power of Pop House gone right straight to his head. Did you see that, Sonny?
That's right.
Did you see that? We don't have to put up with that bullshit.
Hey, everybody, take a look at that QR code. Boom.
Oh, what? Oh, Miguel, put that back up.
I'm just kidding.
Miguel will sign with us every day of the week.
Anyway, he would. Okay, so let's say these 2 box sets are coming out. these are things that we are interested in, especially if we could get, like we talked about it in the show. I remember Sonny saying, and Joey agreeing, unedited version of the live show audio would be like awesome, where we could hear all the little mistakes and all the little things, and it just the rawness. The Alive is raw. It sounds great, but I'm curious, just like everybody else. Lee, let me ask you this: if you and obviously this is your era, this is Alive, that's your thing. So have you been buying the box sets beforehand or no?
I haven't bought a lot of box sets. I bought that one that came out in the black. What was that one? It had.
Did you get it in a guitar case?
No, I got the cheaper one.
Okay, but that was the box set.
But I haven't bought a lot of box sets.
But let's say Alive comes out in a box set and it has a concert in there, and it's one you've not had the chance to get raw. You're in it. You're buying.
Yeah, I would buy that. Yes.
Absolutely. Sonny, you already said that you would. Joey, you said the same thing. You were like, this is what we want. Okay, so look.
Listen, whether it's Pop House, Universal, a little combination of both, I think we're off to a great little run here. I think this is the stuff the KISS fans love. This is the stuff we want. We don't want the licensing to Hello Kitty and blah, blah, blah. That stuff's okay too, but we want this type of stuff. We've been waiting for the Kissologies and all that stuff. We want unreleased stuff. That Creatures box set was one of the best things KISS has maybe ever released. That was so good. All that extra stuff on there. Keep giving us this stuff. And listen, I'm not saying this is making them a fortune, because I don't think it is. I don't think these are big monster sellers for Universal and Pop House, but it's keeping the fan base engaged. And I think that there's something to be said about not always just having the most money be made on a product, but keeping the fan base engaged. And and then that's how you sneak in some other product that the fan base just buys and over markets and stuff like that.
And then I would just skirt the issue that if there's an issue with Peter, if there's an issue with Ace or Eric's family or what, just don't do t-shirts. Right? Do the stuff Universal owns. Go to Neil, see what pictures he's got. Just skirt the issue to where you don't have to go to the families to go get whatever. So we don't end up with just Paul and Gene on a live show. Right? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And me personally, I don't want an Alive cover t-shirt. I would much rather, if a t-shirt came out, I would much rather it be just something different than what we've all seen a million times. That's, you can put that out, but
well, there's a ton of alternate poses. I mean, I've seen them somewhere.
Sure.
Or do singles, right? If it was Alive 2, you do the 4 pictures, but you do one single shirt of each.
Even the Asylum, do 4 of these.
Yeah. You'll sell 4. The homers will buy anything.
Bruce
gotta buy all 4.
Yeah. I think Bruce posted today, someone had the tattoo of Bruce's face.
Saw that.
This is what KISS fans want. They don't want the same old Alive cover on a t-shirt. They want stuff like this.
Yeah,
Alive cover.
I agree.
You can get at Walmart.
Yeah.
Why would I want to buy
right? $6.
Yeah.
$6 at Walmart.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's get into the end of the year. I mean, so we're not even really sure when this other stuff is coming out. How about this? We don't have to count it as KISS, but we got a Peter record coming out too.
It's
Peter
not out yet.
No, okay, we're still waiting on another update. Obviously, Peter announced that a little while ago, but he did say it's going to come for the fall. So I think that was just a little teaser. We're still waiting on it. We're hoping that Peter comes on this show to, obviously the #1 KISS podcast. This is where Peter has to land. It's the logical place for him to talk about the new record, because this is where the KISS fans go to get their news. Obviously, Joe basically works for Pop House, and we're here. I mean, obviously Sonny will be replaced that show. We won't have him on that show to ruin it, but hopefully Peter will be on in the upcoming months to talk about it.
No, I agree. So, Lee, Peter Criss puts a new record out. You're buying that.
Yeah. I'll buy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to hear what he's doing, what he's done.
Sonny, how do you feel about the new Peter record? Something that you're going to buy?
I'm curious. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. I'm curious.
Mhm.
I'm more curious on a Peter record right now than I would be on a Ace Origins 3 bullshit record.
Yeah.
To be
Unless
honest.
Joey's playing on it.
Listen, I think anything any of them release is great. Keep giving, just give us stuff. More stuff. The more stuff, the better. I don't want Peters and not Aces. I don't want Aces and not Peters, or not Genes and not Pauls. Just put it out, and we'll decide if we're going to buy it or like it or listen to it. I
Yeah.
want Paul to do Soul Station. If we like it or don't like it, that's up to us. As long as they're doing
Right.
stuff, I love. Even guys, I got to tell you, we very rarely have seen the amount of interviews that have been coming out recently, especially with Gene and Paul. Even that is a really, I think, a pleasant surprise. And I think we're seeing both of them not in the spotlight for a little while. And they're like, oh, Gene did, like you said, Sonny, it's like a 4-hour interview. And I know it's with Rick Rubin, so it's different, but guys, and listen, even I have a this big compared to them. Guys who are in the spotlight, they want more. They want to do interviews. They want to talk more. They want to tell their stories and talk about themselves and their bands and their products and stuff like that. So the more of that stuff they're doing, I love, Paul kind of does the same interview most of the time. If a guy like Billy Corgan got a little bit of cool stuff out of him, I thought, but Gene has been opening up a little more. And I think Peter almost never does interviews. I'd love to see what he's got.
And it's awesome to hear stuff we've never heard before, like a story, because that's hard, because we've read and heard everything.
Yeah. Well, I will give Billy credit. He kind of stuck to Psycho Circus to the farewell tour for almost a whole interview.
Oh, wow.
Which you don't hear any of that stuff.
Right.
So
right.
different.
And Paul was honest. He's like, we're out there. And, if people tell you suck and you think that they're stupid and you had a great show, then you don't listen. But if you start agreeing with the people that say you suck, and it's like, last night did suck. What is going on?
Yeah,
Right.
I actually like that comment Paul made. It was right. He was, so yes, it's just what Sonny said. He was saying that if the critics always said we sucked, but we told them to go fuck themselves, we didn't agree with them. But if we start agreeing with them, then we got to say, wait a second, something's wrong.
Yeah.
There was a conversation about Phantom where Billy asked him if he did, he prepped with somebody else. And I guess Paul had done some previous acting where he prepped with somebody else. And he goes, I went to the thing and I wasn't prepared. So I told myself I would never do that again. So Phantom, I prepped it all myself. I did it all by myself. We didn't know stuff like
I
that.
just saw a video about Ace talking about Phantom saying Peter couldn't say the talisman word because they were all loaded all the time or something. So that's why it started where he started getting his voice dubbed in by somebody else because he just couldn't say some words or something. I don't know. Ace was going on about something.
That's cool. These are unfortunately, Kistery is parroted the same way by all the members. At least it feels that way. There's a little bit of altered story, but for the most part, it's the same thing we hear. And then when you get to Gene and Paul, it's really like they sat down and said, okay, here's what we're going to talk about. And we're going to stick to this. This is our thing.
But that's why, wouldn't it be phenomenal if the four, I know we're never going to see it, guys.
You never know.
If the four of them were interviewed by somebody, right, to go through the history. And, Gene and Paul have done the interview so many times and told their version of Kistery. They believe it at a certain point. I would love to hear Peter go, that's not how I remember it. This is what I remember. And Ace going, I don't remember that. I remember this. And Gene going, wait a second. I think you're right. But didn't this happen? I want to hear that. I don't care about the version of Kistery that we've learned over the years, which has obviously been skewed. Everything in Kistery was a marketing ploy, right? When when Ace originally first left, it was he got in a car accident, he couldn't do the tour, and Vinny was coming in just to do the tour. Ace is still a part of Kiss, and we've read all those Creatures interviews. It's all lies, complete lies.
Yeah.
So, all of that stuff over the years, I think, has happened so many times that, when they got back together with the reunion, even when they were talking about like relearning the songs, Gene and Paul altered the songs over the years as they played them. So when they tried to play them with Peter and Ace, Ace would be like, wait, that's not what I remember.
And in the Second Coming, they talk about that.
Yeah, sometimes Ace was right, and they had slowly started to change how the song went. And that's just a natural thing for musicians to do. But I want to hear the four of them talk about those first 5 years.
And how do you know we won't see that? I never thought they'd put the makeup back on. So
Great
you
point.
never know.
I just don't know if the four of them can be in a room together, but I was thinking about this today.
Maybe.
You could get an interviewer to do all four. The problem is he'd have to do them separate.
Yeah.
He or she. And you'd only be able to do it once because Paul will never go back to that interviewer again, right? So right now, you guys probably don't watch it, but Club Shay Shay by Shannon Sharp, what he's doing, he's interviewing a bunch of people. Well, he got Cat Williams. Cat said all this stuff. Then he got the folks that Cat was talking about one by one.
Oh,
Right? He's never going to get Cat again.
Yeah.
But he ended up doing that. So Billy has had Gene, and now he's had Paul.
Yeah.
You go get the other guys, you'll get the other two stories, but you'll never get Gene and Paul again, though.
Right. And
Right.
he should say, and well, wait a second. Paul said this, or Peter,
That's right.
Gene said this, but I
right.
don't know if a guy like Billy
Start
will
some
do that.
shit.
But
Just
you're right. That's
Burn
the
some
goal.
shit.
That's the only way. But then you got to none of those four except for Ace would ever come back again
This sounds like a job
for Joe.
for the #1 Kiss podcast in the world. Podcast Rock City. Joe, make this happen. Let's start interviewing the four original members one
Done.
by one,
No
and
problem.
then we'll play them off each other.
We'll call it the Final Four.
Yes. I love the idea. I'm on it. Okay, so now we got Vegas coming up in November, and it's getting an overhaul. Paul and Gene, or Paul made it in the interviews, basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here, they were not happy. It seemed like they were not happy with the direction that it was going. They wanted it to be bigger or better, and better probably. So I'm guessing from what I saw in the interview, they have pretty much taken the reins of this, at least with help with more planning, because they said they had pretty much taken a step back and just was watching. So now here's the thing. We all, like Sonny and I, are going. We bought tickets based on what was happening before. To be fair, it was Sonny wants to see me. I know, I get it. And, that's really why he's going. But, okay, so we bought our tickets. But everything may be changing now. I mean, obviously, we're still going to get Sebastian Bach. Obviously, we're still going to get Black and Blue, right? It was Black and Blue was in there. Obviously, we're going to still get all the announced things that were going to happen already. But what are they going to do? What's their ideas? And my thing is who are they have to be getting people involved, because they're not sitting at home making phone calls and going, hey, look, I think I have an idea. Let's do this. They're obviously have a group of people that do this or have done this before. So, and we're still trying to talk Lee into coming. And it's, look at her smiling. It's so tough.
I'd love to go. Believe me.
She, as long as it's not on a boat, she's fine. Because the Kraken, that's the thing.
I will have severe FOMO.
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
My issue with the change now is, okay, where is the money coming from for the change? So it either has to come from, we were thinking we'd sell 75%, there was going to be 25% that we could use for other things, or we've sold half of it and the next set of half that we sells at a higher price, or we now add add-ons And yes, you've already bought your tickets or whatever, but for an extra $110, you can blah, blah, blah. Because the money has to come from somewhere if this thing is going to get bigger.
But Sonny, why do you automatically think just because Paul's saying it's going to get bigger and we want it more like the cruise, it means more money coming from them?
It doesn't have to come from them, but it costs more money is what I'm saying.
Well,
is that if he wants the cruise experience, right now there is no food involved, and it's a third of the bands.
Well, I think, listen, I don't think the food is a possibility. Maybe some kind of vouchers or something like that. But
yeah,
I do think the entertainment value is the biggest problem that fans have right now. It's not there. So anyone who's done a cruise, I've never done a KISS cruise, but obviously I've seen the lineups. It's how many days? 5 days, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Every day you wake up, 9 a.m., you go here. 10, you go there. Noon, you go there. 1, you go. It's literally.
It's actually even more overlapped than that.
Right. Even more.
There's 3 things happening at 10. There's 3 things happening at 10.
You got to pick what you're doing.
So there's so many things happening. It's filling the days. I think that's the concern everyone's having. I think everyone thought it was going to be more like a cruise on land, but there's only 5 different events happening, whatever it's going to be. There's not, where's the schedule to say, this is how the days are going to be run. This is what you're getting for your buck. I think maybe that's what Paul is saying, bigger and better. I think he's almost should be, I know he's not going to say it out loud, but I think he means more organized. I think he means planned more properly, like a real event. The people that were planning this are not planning it like a real event cruise. Boom, 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 boom. I think Paul just needs it to pop better on a piece of paper.
Yeah. I just added up how many tickets are left for. It's 1,040.
Out of how many?
Well, that's the question. Now, I'm only going by how many seats are available in the arena where they're going to be doing the show. That's all I'm going by, because the truth is,
what's the number?
I think it was like 23 or 2,400.
Oh,
so
a little over halfway sold.
Okay.
So here's the thing. So, but you have to think of how many rooms does this equal? Because if 2 people go to a room, it's 500 more rooms. That's a lot of rooms. So announcements have to start happening soon. I would imagine that what's going to happen. I do know that one of the announcements that was made was when Paul said that he and Gene are going to do 15 songs.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big announcement. That lets you know it's not going to be a KISS concert, but they're going to be doing 15 songs. That's pretty epic. I'm wondering how they're putting that all together. A little bit of each, Eric Singer being there, I think is, pretty important to a lot of fans to get that.
Yeah, right?
Right, yeah.
Listen, and the question behind that is, listen, there's so many questions, and Joe, maybe you can find these answers out since you're, Dr. Pophouse. There's no KISS entity right now, and if there is, it's Gene and Paul, right? Maybe Tommy and Eric are not under any kind of long-lasting contract. Their contract expired, and this is all speculation, guys. Did it expire right at the end of that last show? And after that last show, they only get maybe some, I don't even know if they have any avatar rights or whatever they get, but any types of events like these, they have to be contracted for, just like any of the bands like Black and Blue. And I'm sure Bruce has his own contract, and every act that's there, the KISS tribute bands have their own contract. I would bet Tommy and Eric need their own contract. And I don't know what that entails at these points. Maybe Eric is double booked. Maybe Eric is negotiating with Pop House. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there could be 1,000 different reasons why Eric is not involved yet. It could just be they didn't announce him yet. I mean, we could be just reading way too into this too.
Is he playing? Is he doing anything now? Or do we know?
I haven't seen anything. One of the things to think about is when they do these kinds of things, you've got Bruce, you've got Paul, you've got Gene. If you're the fourth guy and they want you,
You got some
your
clout.
price goes up. Your price goes up. Whether or not that's his thing. We don't know. But here, let's get to the end of this now. The whole point is Kiss fans should be thrilled compared to last year. There's so much happening. I feel like we complain too much. You wanted stuff, it's coming out, you're not happy with it. God, it should have been this, it should have been. I understand the whole Eric and Bruce t-shirt thing. I'm with you on that. It doesn't make any sense to me either. However, you're getting all kinds of stuff. You get to choose whether or not you buy it or not. It's your money. That's how things go. But
that's what the problem is, though. The problem is that when it comes in spurts, we have friends that just don't have liquid cash laying around. Yeah. So they need it to come in a pipeline that is smooth, that they have money when stuff happens. But if something's going to come and it's going to be sold before the Kiss Army pre-sale's done, and I don't even get a chance to get it, and there's something right after that that's going to cost another $200, and then Vegas is $2,000, and blah. It's a lot of money, and it's when you did nothing last year, where I could have maybe had some liquid cash to spend. Now it's all happening in a bunch, so I can understand why some folks are like, "What is going on?" All of a sudden, I can't expect. I got to pick and choose what I can get.
No, I understand about that, but I think that people are complaining about what's in the product more than that's something we're not going to do. All right,
listen,
so
I think at the end of the day, if the announcement comes and there's enough entertainment to sell those tickets, people are going to gobble them up. It's a matter of them filling the weekend. I think a $2,000 15 song by Gene and Paul is not going to sell out. It's not. You're not going to sell 3,000 tickets for that.
I will tell you guys,
two tribute bands and blah, blah, blah. It's just not going to sell. People want an experience, and they're not getting it yet. They need to hear more of what's going to happen.
But I will tell you that the first Kiss cruise, I don't think sold out either. I can tell you that at one point they dropped the price pretty massively. It was months after I had signed up already. They and the people from Sixth Man, I had asked them about it, and they said the first cruise is always like this because people are standoffish. They don't know what it's going to be about. They don't know what's going to happen. So they tend to step back and hold on to their money. And then the second one sold out. Third one sold out. Fourth one sold out.
That's a great point, Joe. People, it's hard to advertise what's going to happen. The best way to sell something is to have it out, right? So a movie opening on an open day weekend, there's nothing better than that movie after it opens. Everyone comes out of that movie and goes, holy shit, this is the greatest thing I ever just saw. It's all over the internet. That will get people flooded to the theaters. Opposite, same thing. Bad reviews, everyone comes out of the theater and says, this sucked. Nobody's going back. So I agree. Maybe this first one loses a little bit of money. Maybe it doesn't sell out. This is the testing ground to show everyone, hey, guys, we're going to do this every year. Check this out. And maybe it's so good that next year it does sell out.
Yeah. Rooms shouldn't be an issue. Virgin has 1,500 rooms. It's 3 towers. Wow. So rooms shouldn't be an issue.
Is this something they've been saying is going to be yearly?
Nobody said that yet because
right.
Why would you put that out there? You got to have a success first.
Yeah, we got to wait and see. All right. So you guys let us know what you think. Podcast Rock City 1.
That's the number one.
At gmail.com. Podcast Rock City 1. That's the number 1 at gmail.com. We have some time. And because we have some time, that means we have time for stuff we grew up with.
Hey.
Oh, yes.
And now we're
talking Breakfast Club.
The Criminal.
What a movie.
Sonny is going to say, what about this movie?
What am I saying about this movie?
Yes.
It's 10 times better than Jaws and Godfather.
Oh, my God. I don't know.
Joe, just knock him off. I mean, listen, I love this movie, but just knock
Talking
him off.
about.
It's one of the best movies of my childhood.
Oh, you're saying you watched it through childhood eyes, Sonny, just like you were yelling at us
100%.
before.
Yep.
Yeah,
And if
that's what
somebody
you do.
saw it for the first time 2 months from now, they probably would hate it.
So just so you guys know, we had this long discussion before we started recording where Sonny saw Jaws for the first time just a couple of months ago, and he thinks it's awful.
Awful.
And of course, you guys can send the hate mail to pooney.com
Ridiculous.
and at Gmail, whatever. Anyway, I don't know how we could think Jaws is terrible. But anyway, so
Epic.
all right, let's talk about this. The movie is a wonderful representation of high school in the 80s. Everybody agree?
Absolutely.
Lee, you got a little nod there. What do you think?
I mean, it's Hollywoodified, you know. I mean,
Yes, but I mean, there's stories, you know. You know, you have the stoner, you have the dork, you have the jock,
sure,
you have
sure.
the princess, you have the the quiet person. That it definitely. You know, the funny thing is that I brought this up to people before, and one of the things Anthony Michael Hall, you know, talks about the fact that he brought a gun to school in that book, a pew pew. That's how you're supposed to say it when you're on YouTube. He brought a gun to school, and then they laughed because it was. I don't want to ruin it in case anybody's never seen it, but it's interesting that
You could say it, Joe.
yeah, because it was a flare gun. But you know, the whole thing. That's what makes it funny. But I can tell you that it's like a string of movies put out by the same writer, right? It's The Breakfast Club. It's Pretty in Pink. It's 16 Candles. You
So
can add
great.
Home Alone in there. He wrote that too.
All of them are so great.
All of them are terrific. And you know, there is a Brat Pack documentary that's out right now,
Mhm.
done by
Good.
Andrew McCarthy. If you guys haven't seen that, where he basically went to as many people as would talk to him.
Don't
you
forget
know.
about my epic meeting with Andrew McCarthy.
I didn't know that. What
Yes, you
happened?
did. I dressed as Bernie for his book signing.
I did not know this.
You didn't know that?
And what happened? What did he say?
I was doing Bernie, man. I walked down to get my book signed, and they were gonna show Pretty in Pink that after his book signing, and he was gonna give a Q&A. And I walked down like Bernie, you know, and he goes, "There's always one of you." So we got pictures and stuff, and then he took a break, and then he was gonna come back and do a Q&A, and I sat on the stage for a photo, you know, all dead and everything, and he walked out for his Q&A, and he's like, "Bernie, get off the stage."
Oh,
I have a
that's so
picture of,
good.
it, of him looking at me. It was funny.
Oh,
That's
so
pretty
great.
awesome.
Who ended up being the most popular out of these guys? To me, it's probably Estevez, right?
Probably.
Out of
Definitely.
This group right here.
Yeah.
I would say Molly
Yes.
Ringwald.
Estevez probably had the most.
Yeah, Molly.
most- Molly ended up being the most popular out of these guys.
I
Well,
would
she had
say.
a longer career. I think she started earlier too. But and
I
Anthony
mean,
Michael
Estevez
Hall
had a lot
too.
of movies, but I think
Yeah.
Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall might have. I don't know. It's a great point.
I mean, Anthony Michael Hall was in, recently in the Batman movies. He had little roles in them. And
Yeah, he's still doing stuff.
first time I saw Anthony Michael Hall, I think was Six Pack. Do you guys remember the movie Six Pack with Kenny Rogers?
No.
So it's about these kids that know how to work on cars real well, and they're thieves. They steal parts. Anyway, it's him and Diane Lane. Listen, we could have a whole show on Diane Lane. It's him and Diane Lane. Funny story and true story. When I used to own a club, there was a kid that played there, and I had a radio show at the time, and I used to bring on all the unsigned bands that would play my club. It was called Out of the Garage. That was the name of the show, and I would bring them on. And I had this kid on one time, and I said to him, "Have have you ever thought about getting into acting or anything? He said, no. Have you? I said, oh man, I wanted to be an actor when I was a kid because I saw this movie. It's called Six Pack with Kenny Rogers. I said, and there was a kid in it when I watched it, and his name was Swifty, and he cussed through the whole movie. He had all the best lines, and it made the crowd crack up. I kid you not. This kid looks at me and goes, Swifty is my brother.
Oh my God, come on.
He introduced me to him at my club when he played. I got to meet him.
Insane.
And it turns out his mother was an actress as well. And she was in one of the Cannonball Run films. She's at a bar with Burt Reynolds in one of the movies. And then she told me how here on the highway, right out from our town, is where she taught Anthony Michael Hall how to drive.
What?
Because they were in the movie together. I was like, this is pretty great. Anyway, so Anthony Michael Hall was young when he did Molly Ringwald. I mean, she was on Facts of Life, like the first season.
He was in
right?
Weird Science
Sure.
too.
Yeah, Weird Science. Yeah, that's another movie written by the same guy. I can't think of his name right now. I'm very upset about that. But
I know I can't say
But
it.
the Brad Pack documentary was. Did any of you see it?
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I thought
I
it's
did.
really good.
It was great. It was great how they, Andrew McCarthy is doing it, and he's the one that's
Yeah,
making this doc,
so
and he's
good.
saying how they were blacklisted, because they were called the Brad Pack, and it wasn't a good. We think of the Brad Pack.
Wasn't a good thing. Yeah.
No, we think of this as this cool club and these superstar actors that they became the biggest actors in Hollywood, but it was actually a bad thing for
They
them. back
hated it.
then. Yeah,
It
they
was,
hated it.
John Hughes, Joe.
John Hughes.
Yeah.
I looked it up. Yeah, John Hughes, who's unfortunately passed away, but he wrote so many good things. Anyway,
Breakfast Club is
Yeah, I don't, dude. Okay, get ready here. All right. The Outsiders, Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire, Maximum Overdrive, Stakeout, Young Guns 2, Men at Work, Free Jack, The Mighty Ducks, another Stakeout, D2, The Mighty Ducks. I think Estevez had the most.
Yeah, that's a lot of it.
That's
yeah.
a lot.
The Young Gun. I forgot the Young Gun stuff with Estevez.
The Stakeout movies are awesome. I love those two movies.
Yeah.
I think they're making.
Richard Dreyfuss, right?
Yeah.
Is the second one have Rosie O'Donnell in it?
Yeah,
Why does
yep.
I hear they're making a third Young Guns movie, so I'm excited about that.
What?
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's gonna
Old
have
guns.
Old. Thank you. Lee gets the star of the show for that line. Thank you. All right.
Breakfast Club was a game changer movie. It was a generational movie. It summed up the '80s high school. I love those types of movies where there's the really one setting.
So good.
Something like 12 Angry Men was one of my favorite movies growing up, and I love those types of movies where it's fully character driven. There's no plot.
And the adults are always idiots.
Yep.
Yeah.
The principal, acting.
You'll like the new movie then, Flight Risk. Mark
Yeah.
Wahlberg.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Same
and
thing. It's
I saw a
basically one
commercial
thing.
for that. Uh-huh.
I love that.
One thing.
Yeah.
You guys out there, if you're not part of our after school special, if you look right below where you're watching us right now, there's a little button. It says join. It's 99 cents.
Ooh.
$1 a month. And you get after school special, which when we're done here, we're going to go and do a show. It's usually 20, 25 minutes extra. Only members get to come into that. Only members get to see that. Plus, we do a giveaway. Now, on the Sunday after the July 4th, which I think is the 6th, we're going to give away a one of the KISS bicentennial posters. And the winner that week will get to host our show with us and pick the topic of the week.
Wow, nice.
So you've got some time. It's 99 cents. Join and wait and see if you get picked. It would be a lot of fun to have any of you on there. You're going to pick the topic of the week. And obviously we're going to have to okay it because we don't want to talk about Godzilla. Yes, Disturbed.
You're saying
I'll
for
talk about
99 cents, they get to not only be part of the after show of the hottest number one Kiss podcast in the world, but they're going to have a chance to host and pick the topic of the number one rated Kiss podcast. Everyone is watching. I ran it. Tommy Summers from Three Sides of the Coin was at our quarantine show a couple weeks ago. He photoed, did the whole thing. He was on his hands and knees bowing to. He's like, you guys really are number one. And I pay the 99 cents every month. And I'm part of the after show because I want to be part of the number one Kiss rated podcast.
That is awesome news.
Listen, everybody knows.
Yeah. You know who else knows? Eric Martin.
What up? What up? This is Eric Martin, and you're listening to the number one Kiss podcast in the universe, Podcast Rock City, with the one and only Sonny Pooney, featuring my best friend in the whole wild world. You know him, you love him, you want to take him home and shove meatballs down his throat. That handsome greaseball, Joey Casada, drummer, author, wrestler, and Kiss aficionado. You better do good, Joey. Everybody's listening to you. Don't choke.
Do you choke? Do you choke a lot? Is he saying something?
When he shows meatballs down my throat. That's
Okay, wow. So all right, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys over in the after school special. Sonny, you got anything to add?
Thanks for listening. Go watch Flight Risk.
Absolutely, Joey. Oh, when are you playing? When's the kids playing?
Oh, so the kids, I'll give you just a couple quick dates. I know everyone's busy. I'll give you a couple quick dates. Hold on.
They're not too busy. They can't come out. They can come out.
So again, before I'm looking up the dates, throw up the code again, Joe. Pick up my new book, Order of the Rose. It's a lot of fun. All about what would the elder have been. Let's see what we got here.
If you guys know who owns the script, fine, let us know. The script was bought. We want to know what the script says.
So the 28th, we're going to be in Delaware at Shady Grove at Arden Concert Guild. We're going to be in Delaware at Shady Grove, Arden Concert Guild. Come check out my daughter playing drums. Sunday, June 29th, we're going to be in Maryland at, where are we? We are in Cult Classic Brewing in Maryland on Sunday, June 29th. Monday, June 30th, we are going to be at Bunker Brewing in Virginia Beach. And then on July 1st, we are going to be at Hemingway's in Seaside Heights, New Jersey. Come check us out.
Awesome. To go out, say hi to Joey, watch his daughter's band. Man, did I see a video where they were playing some Queensryche?
Yeah, we just added it to the set. We're doing some Operation Mindcrime.
That's cool.
She's playing drums on it, killing it. Band is killing it. We got a really fun set list. No, really, believe it or not, no Kiss, and I'm in charge of the set list. But we do a little of everything. We're doing Queensryche, Beastie Boys, Mariah Carey, a little of everything. So it's fun.
That is awesome. Lee, you have anything to add?
No.
You playing anywhere?
Me? No, I'm not playing.
I know every once in a while you do a song.
Yeah, every so often, but no, nothing really coming up.
Nothing right now. Okay. You know what I'm going to say? We love Kiss and we love Kiss podcasts. And I don't have anything else to say about that. But you're going to hear the commercials for all the ones that we love right after this in 3, 2, 1. Peace.